does an exclusive interview and he says, yeah, I think the jury made the right decision, so on and so forth. So in other words, it doesn't matter if they were to try to appeal, which is what they usually do, okay? Which is what they usually try to do. It doesn't matter. This is what they usually try to do. Every particular look at what Brian Coco doing. Koberger, I call him Coco, all right? What is Brian Koberger doing right now? He's also trying to appeal, even though he said himself that he did it, that he's guilty, and he took a plea deal. Remember? Now he's also trying to get his stuff thrown out, okay? Even he is trying to get his crap thrown out, all right? Now imagine if a judge went, and I mean, obviously, Brian Koberger did all that. He pleaded guilty because he did all that. But imagine if he went through a trial, and then that judge went out and said, yeah, the decisions were just fine, right? The decisions by the jury was completely just and fine. That tells you that that judge is not going to read or even bat an eye towards any documents about an appeal. So in other words, that's what they're saying. Listen, there's no point in trying to have him preside over these appeals because he's already saying that he's ironclad, that he's standing 10 toes down on the decisions that this jury made. You're not even giving us a fight. You're not even giving us a chance to fight. He did that 48 hours after the verdict was made. So he's basically saying, I ain't budging. So he's the wrong guy to preside over these appeals, even on that, too. You see what I'm saying? That's not good. So he's been recused to, over these particular appeals. Because he's saying, hey, we done. We're done. This trial's over. He don't need to appeal. Let him rot in prison. They're trying to appeal. You see what I'm saying? So again, very, very interesting stuff. Chelsea, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. You should do a poll. Chat seems split about this. Yeah, give me a second and we will get into it. Let's take a listen to the rest of this.
Symbolically, if you will, I know what the law stipulates, but how important was this and so the galvanizing of people paying more attention to this argument on behalf of Karmelo Anthony about a new trial?
Well, for a lot of people, they just thought, well, of course, everyone's entitled to try, but there's no real bones there. What the court concluded today was that, no, there was some things that went wrong during that trial, starting with the judge's comments and the judge's posture to finish this. The trial is not complete until Karmelo's appellate options are exhausted, until he has the right to at least ask for a new trial. And that has to be heard by a fair arbiter of the law. That is not Judge Roach. We're looking forward to hearing who Collin County assigns in the case.
Will that process take place today? Because we know this hearing is scheduled for tomorrow. So educate the folks on what's the next step on this day.
Yeah, there's been a lot of waiting. And so today we wanted to see if we could get a new trial. A new judge, the judge has made the decision today. We handed him the order. He's signing it now. It'll go into the Collin County process for randomly selecting a new judge in the case. And so that's today. Tomorrow we get into that new judge hearing our motion for a new trial.
Let me ask you finally, for your client, for Mr. Anthony, how did he feel? What was his passion on this issue of recusal?
Karmelo was extremely relieved. He came into the courtroom today very timid, very exhausted, really. You can see that he had lost weight. He had hardened a bit. He had aged a bit in his time in jail. But to hear the community behind him and then to hear an official proclamation from a judge that says, what your family, what your community is seeking, they're going to be granted today was a huge relief.
Lee Merritt, we thank you for your time. We know you.
Yeah. Again, this is going to be a very, very interesting couple days. Because tomorrow they're going to be going over all the stuff, and I guess we're going to find out. It could be as soon as tomorrow or as soon or as late as Monday to find out whether or not he gets a new trial. So this weekend could be absolute chaos, or first thing Monday morning could be an absolute cluster F. You never know. Tomorrow they could make a decision all the way to Monday. So we'll find out. Okay, we'll find out for sure. So yeah, interesting. Let me hold on. Give me a second, y'all.
Welcome back to Live Now from
Shut your mouth. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, actually, let me I know Neek at Night was there. Where the heck is it? Boom.
Happy to see y'all. Yes. Let's go. How y'all feeling? How you feeling? How you feeling?
Hey, Kimberly in Japan, thank you so much for being a member for the past 45 months. My Lord, that's amazing. Almost 2 a.m. over here. Just dropping in to say hi. Can't wait for the new set. I'll catch up tomorrow on the replay. Lots of love. Hey, lots of love to you as well. Thank you so much for the support and always being so dope. Thank you so much. But again, let's take a look at this.
Hey, I appreciate your show.
Oh, okay.
Appreciate
Thank you
your
for
show.
watching. Thank you for watching. Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh my God.
Like I said, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be the Debbie Downer. Okay. I ain't trying to be the negative Nancy here. All right. But I am going to say this because I just got to keep it a bean. Just because he's been recused does not mean that he's getting a new trial. Sure, people don't like Judge Roach. Fine. He's been to change anything. But you never know. Sure.
breaking news on this Wednesday morning. I'm Carmen Blackwell here with CBS News Texas. Karmelo Anthony's defense team just won a recusal that was requested, meaning that an outside judge will hear Anthony's case as he appeals his murder conviction. So his attorneys asked for a new judge to oversee the 19-year-old's appeal, which began around 9 a.m. earlier this morning. Anthony's legal team argued that its motion to recuse State District Judge John Roach Jr. from overseeing the appeals process. And now another hearing on Thursday is when Anthony's attorneys are expected to present arguments in support of their motion for now a new trial. Another judge will now sit for that hearing. We do have crews there both inside and outside of the courthouse. And of course, we'll keep you updated on CBSNewsTexas.com. Breaking news on this Wednesday morning. I'm Carmen Blackwell here with CBS News Texas. Karmelo Anthony's defense team.
Closing arguments are underway in Karmelo Anthony's trial, and his defense team says the teen had no choice but to defend himself when Austin Metcalf confronted him at a Texas high school track meet. Defense attorney Mike Howard told the jury Austin had no legal right to put his hands on Karmelo or use force to remove him from the tent they were under at the Texas high school track meet. Howard described how it was raining during the event, and someone from Frisco Memorial High School allegedly told Karmelo he could come under their tent to stay dry. Howard continued, then all of a sudden, Hunter Metcalf, or Austin, says, "Who are you? You need to leave." The lawyer argued Austin and his brother put Karmelo in a position where he needed to fight back, saying Austin and Hunter had the right to tell Melo to leave, but they did not have the right to use deadly force to make him leave. Melo had an absolute right to defend himself against that. Howard claimed one instant of hesitation could have been the difference between life and death for Karmelo, adding, "How do you know in a split second of chaos when it's too late? Because if you wait too late to defend yourself, self-defense is meaningless." Karmelo has been charged with Austin and pleaded not guilty. If convicted, he could face life in prison. The investigation remains ongoing, so we'll keep you guys updated. Closing arguments are underway in Karmelo Anthony's trial, and his defense team says the teen had no choice but to defend himself when Austin Metcalf confronted him at a Texas high school track meet. Defense attorney Mike Howard told the jury Austin had no legal right to put his hands on Karmelo or use force to remove him from the tent they were under at the Texas high school track meet.
Courtroom today. When you went in the courtroom, you was in the house. Yeah.
So what happened?
Okay. So I'm in there with my cell phone.
You coming from?
Come up. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Good. So I'm in there with my cell phone, and of course I'm on my Snapchat. So I was in there just kind of on my Snapchat, like y'all see y'all Karmelo support. So the officer was like, "You got to get out." And I'm like, "What I got to get out for?" And he was like, "Cause you in here recording on your phone." And I'm like, "What? I'm not in the courtroom. I'm not in the overflow room or anything like that. I'm actually in the waiting room." I'm like, I didn't see anything that said that I couldn't have my phone to record. He said it's a sign. Now this man told me it's a sign right here in the front when you enter that says you cannot record. That's a lie. It's a sign that say you can't have your phone in the hearing, but there is no sign that say you cannot record in the hallways or nothing like that. So I asked him to show me the sign. He wanted to argue with me. He was like, "I'm doing my job. You need to leave." Of course, his ass started shaking. Yeah, I'm gonna say his bitch ass was shaking. But yeah, he was asking me to leave, and I'm like, "No, I want you to show me the sign that says that I can't record in here because you're telling me that there's a sign." He couldn't show me no sign. He didn't want to show me no sign. He kept telling me he was going to arrest me if I didn't leave out. And so from there, I walked up to the front. I talked to a supervisor, and I asked the supervisor, and they basically gave me a paper, which it might be in the car, but they gave me a paper that has the court order on it, and they said that they filed this last year saying that people could not come into the court and do certain things, or they have their phone taken or whatever. Now, that's one of the procedures that you can take the phone. They didn't take my phone. They didn't give me a warning. They just told me I had to leave, or my other option was that I was going to get arrested for having my phone in there. That didn't even make sense, y'all. So outside of that, when you're looking over the paper, and it's not to hate on nobody, because I love the fact that everybody showed up in their Karmelo shirts, but it did say in the paper that we're not allowed to have the shirts. So I asked him, I said, "How are y'all picking and choosing what y'all allow in the courtroom and what y'all not allowing in there?" Because last time they kicked us out at the door for having our shirts. You feel what I'm saying? Or they made us turn our shirts around. So I'm like, so what made y'all single out this one thing? Also, it was a white man in there who was recording on his phone. They didn't kick him out. So my whole issue was like, why did I get kicked out? You feel what I'm saying? So they tried to tell me that the shirt thing was on a whole nother order that was specifically for Karmelo. And I was like, y'all motherfuckers in here lying, because it's literally on the same paper that you just told me that I couldn't have my cell phone in the court, that this was signed a year ago. Which I'm not tripping about it, but I just wanted to know why I was singled out, because like I said, it was a white guy in there that was on his phone that they did not kick out for doing it. And they didn't give him no warning or nothing like that. He put his phone up and went on about his business. So yeah, I think it's a justice and a violation to my First Amendment rights, because literally I ain't going in here to hurt anybody or nothing like that. You feel me? And we all have a freedom of speech and a right to press.
Your First Amendment,
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I got kicked out. It was another sister that's over here. She also got kicked out for the same thing. But like I said, they didn't kick the white guy out. He did the exact same thing that we did. So I just think they don't want to see it. But yeah, that's all I want to say. We got kicked out. I don't care, because you know what? Judge Roach bitch ass is out of there. That's what matters. He's out of there. He's out of there.
So they got him up out of there.
Yeah. He has been stopped, sprayed.
That's a big accomplishment.
Raid has been put on him.
So now you ready? Come on. What do you want me to do? What was going on? We were talking about it just a while ago. And how that introduce yourself.
You lie.
This This Poodle.
They don't know me.
Oh,
okay. If you an OG, you know. You know that page. I remember you. You're not going to Yeah, but you talk
any other time. She talk any other time. We got Michelle, pretty girl.
I need to go get my notes.
And King, gone. And King. Well, they could come over in just a second.
On here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot it back, son. Yeah. I forgot I can zoom in. Hey,
I'm big dog.
Yeah, I'm big dog right now. My bag, I got it. I look good too. See, look way up. That's bad. Now go get the notes. Come on. So while she getting her notes, you want to come on over, pretty girl?
No, sir.
Pretty girl, I gotta get you ready. You gotta get out of there. All the way from Chicago? Oh, man.
House here in Collin County. We have just ended. It's probably been about 20 minutes or so. And I'm in the room trying to people are calling. I'm trying to put the phone, do that disturb. I thought it already was. All right. Okay. See y'all coming into the room. Hello, the Fifth Lawyer ATL. And we are here live on the ground at the Collin County Courthouse here in Texas for the Karmelo Anthony motion to recuse. It was granted. The judge today, Judge Harle, heard the motion and granted the motion to recuse. All right, I see you all coming into the room, just trying to people are driving by. Let me make sure you're not in the way. As you can see, I'm outside of the Collin County Courthouse here in Texas for the Karmelo Anthony hearings. There was just a large crowd on the steps chanting, "Free Karmelo, free Karmelo." Come into the room. Jersey Girl Trey says, "Hey, Fit and fam, thank you so much, Miles. Come into the room." All right, so y'all know me and my note taking. I will say this though, right? Judge Harle did grant the motion to recuse. However, you could tell that he still was trying to protect Judge Roach and the fact that he did not want the attorneys to put anything in the order that stating that Judge Roach violated any judicial canons, okay? And so we're going to go into this in great detail later when I'm in the hotel room, so stay tuned. But I just wanted to kind of give you all a quick update, all right? So we had to get in line this morning. We were here early. They gave us cards to get in. There were only 40 people outside of the media that were allowed into the courtroom. So we were given these cards, business cards with the sheriff to say what number you were. I was number 37. Thank God I got a card. All right, so I was able to get inside the courtroom. We were let into the courthouse at 7 a.m. They let us into the courtroom about 8:40-ish, and then court started exactly at 9. They brought in Karmelo from the back. He did come in handcuffed. After the attorneys did their introductions, Karmelo Anthony's attorney, one of them asked if he could be uncuffed for the hearing. The judge said it was up to the deputies, and the deputy in the courtroom agreed, and so they unhandcuffed him for the hearing only. So I actually sat directly behind Jeff Metcalf, like 2 people over, so I could see all his facial expressions and everything through the hearing. That's how I was able to recognize who he was.
The only evidence that was submitted in court was the interview. They did submit other exhibits that they had already discussed prior, so they were submitted to the judge as soon as they came in. It was exhibits 1 through 12 and 16, and they were some kind of like public opinions. And I wrote down some of those numbers, so we'll go over those more in greater detail on the live because they didn't share those documents with us. They just gave us the opinion numbers. And so there's a such thing called judicial canons, right? I'm an attorney practicing a 20-year criminal defense attorney and personal injury attorney in Atlanta, Georgia. There are rules that we have to follow, right? So there are rules that the judges have to follow, and they're called judicial canons. Karmelo's attorneys raised that Judge Roach had violated 5 of those by giving the interview. Number 1, speaking on something that is still pending, that is still can come back before you. And even though, I mean, that's exactly what happened, right? And he did recuse him, Judge Harle sits on the judicial committee for the state of Texas. And he was clear to say, and he said it over and over, I am not finding that Judge Roach violated any of the judicial canons. I am simply saying that if a person on the outside was to look at this case, and that's what the law says, and y'all, it's hot out here, it's like 100-some degrees, so this will be quick because I'm burning up. But he was saying that when you're looking at a motion to recuse, you simply decide if a person that's outside of this, will they look at the case, will they get all of the knowledge, all the facts, and when they look at everything that happened in the case, could they find that there was something that was biased that occurred? And after the interview played, y'all, they played the whole 18-minute interview in court. That was the only evidence that was submitted outside of the exhibits that we couldn't see, but what was played was the video. Now, once the defense said they had this video to play, the state said, well, Judge, you read the transcript. We don't really have to go through that again. And the defense and the judge said, yeah, I have read the transcript, but they can go ahead and play it. And I mean, it was important to hear it because all of the statements that the judge made throughout this interview, I've heard it so many times, but I was taking notes today. He says things such as that the jury got it right. He goes so far as to make that statement. Now he tries to explain himself, right? And he says that the jury got it right because they were in panel, they listened to the facts, they deliberated, and they came up with a verdict. So that means that they got it right. But what the Karmelo's attorneys argued was like, you're speaking to the validity of the verdict and the case is still pending. It's going to come back to you. Also, the judge made several statements in his interview, like, I follow the law. I can sleep at night because I follow the law. As long as I follow the law, I know that I'm doing everything right. But they're saying, Judge, we got to go back before him, and we're saying you did not follow the law. This is the law. This is what you're supposed to do whenever you consider putting in restrictions for the courtroom and you didn't follow it. So, Judge, don't send this case back to him because how is he going to be unbiased on it if he's already made statements in his interview speaking to the very things that we're raising, right? He says he followed the law. He did everything right. So if we come back before him and say, no, Judge, you didn't do something right, he's not going to listen to his judge. This is going to be a bias. All right. And so that playing that interview was the only evidence, as I stated. Now, you know, there's a part in the interview where the judge talks about how he balanced the media right to the trial and the public. And the interviewer and Judge Wilson pointed this out during his argument. Paul said, Judge, isn't the public and the media the same? Like we are the extension of the public. Like we're how they get the information. And so they brought that up in their argument to say, like, in deciding to shut out the some of the media and the public, you're thinking about it. You're having this conversation about where the stuff should be done. Well, guess what? It wasn't on any of the documents. You didn't put that in the order. You didn't make a finding on the record. I will say that Bill Worthy, when he jumps up, and like I said, we'll go into more detail later on, he says, Judge, we're not going to really be making an argument here. I don't really think it's our job to defend Judge Roach. So he really could have sat down because, like, they really didn't make an argument. He's like, look, I've been knowing Judge Roach for a very long time. He's very fair. I've defended cases before Judge Roach. I've prosecuted cases before Judge Roach. He's very fair. So, you know, I don't feel like he acted biased in this case. That was kind of the approach the state took. They didn't bring in any evidence. They didn't try to talk directly to the evidence that the defense presented. They basically just like, look, it's not our job to defend him, Judge. You're hearing everything. You got the facts. You're going to make the decision. So it's your call. So they also went on to say, like, you know, I've been before the judge as a defense attorney, as a prosecutor. I know he's fair. And so they kind of spoke on that. They never did to say, like, from this interview, do you not see a bias? They didn't really come to that. They just like, you know, hey, it's not up to us, Judge. It's up to you. We're not here to defend Judge Roach. So whatever decision you make, you make. Now, before the hearing started, the judge said that he wanted each side to present proposed orders so that he could rule because he wanted to make a decision. He had to make a decision today, right? Because the motion for new trial is tomorrow. Well, at the end, the judge says, like I say, after he made his decision, hey, give me your order, but don't give me anything in the order saying that Judge Roach violated a judicial canon. I am only taking him off the case because a person on the outside could look at all the facts in this case, look at the interview. I mean, it was done 2 days after the verdict and decide that the judge was biased. So that is why he ended up granting it. I will say that once he granted it, so I was in the actual courtroom. And there was an overflow courtroom down the hall. It's like a little delay. So we get the news. We're up. Our door opens, and you can hear when they get the news because then they start screaming and hollering. There was a lot of cheers. There was also cheers about 8:35 when Karmelo's legal team came in. Everybody was cheering and clapping for them. So there were a lot of Karmelo Anthony supporters here today. So there was a lot of cheering. Once everyone came outside, they then began to march around and took pictures and singing songs and stuff on the steps. So a lot of people, I'm sure, will be here again tomorrow for the motion for new trial. The sun is beaming. I cannot really see if anybody has any questions, and I'm sweating. So what I am going to do is I'll go through these questions on this live once it posts. Stay tuned. What time is it? It's like 10. Oh, well, it says it's 10:42 here. I don't know if this time is even correct. I just cut my phone on. We couldn't take anything in. I think that is the time. So I would say, let's say 1 o'clock. All right. So like 1 or 2 o'clock, I'll put up another live and I'll go slower, go through detail. Y'all know I take so many notes. So word for word, I'll give it to you. But just know Judge Roach has been recused. So who's hearing it tomorrow? We don't know. Judge Harle said he is sending the order to the judge who appointed him to hear this. And that judge will then appoint another judge to hear the motion for new trial tomorrow. So we don't know. It's going to be here. Don't know what judge, don't know what courtroom, but the motion for new trial will be heard today. They got into a little bit of those arguments today, just to make a point as to why Judge Roach need to be off because of the things that he will have to decide tomorrow if he keeps the case. And so after the hearing and Judge Roach was accused, Karmelo was re-handcuffed and taken back to the back. His family then kind of stood, a lot of supporters are here. So they were hugging. I've seen a lot of YouTube creators here. Nika Knight was here. Her security was a great help to me this morning. Other people that just live in Frisco. I sat next to a lady whose daughter ran track with Karmelo and was there when this incident occurred. Her kids were there, and they knew already, what had happened, that Austin had passed, all of that before it even hit the news. Of course, there are videos. She said, yes, plenty of kids were filming things. There have been plenty of videos going around. So, but we're not here about any of the facts today or tomorrow. This is the legal argument. So judge has been recused off the case. Not sure who's going to hear it tomorrow. But tune in, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I will be coming back this afternoon to go into more detail about this. I got some other couple of interviews lined up with some other creators. So you'll see me around. All right, thanks for tuning in. It's the Fit Lawyer ATL, and I'll see you in court.
I think he called his mama. I'm finna see if he updated. That's 21 hours ago. He hasn't updated nothing yet. Hold on 1 second, y'all.
We begin with breaking news in McKinney as Karmelo Anthony works to appeal his conviction.
I hope y'all are in here. Yeah, but we going outside. Yes. The dream team. Yes, great job, y'all. Yes. Yes. Baby. Motion granted. Oh, that is a public opinion. We did it. We did it. Now they calling. We did it, y'all. Motion granted. Motion granted. Judge Roach has been recused. Judge Roach has been recused. Oh, let me go through here. I'm like, where is there's a whole bunch of us out here. There's Knick-Knack right there. Now I'm looking for, I said Knick-Knack. That's Look at Night right there. Where my other folks? Oh no, you're fine. Okay.
Not compromise our principles. You will not compromise our principles. You will accept that concession, but not compromise our principles. Bring it on.
It felt like I said, the motion I'm gonna break everything down when I get to my destination. But we all over the place. I'm trying to find my crew. But the motion for Judge Roach to be recused was granted by Judge Harle. I told y'all he's a tough judge, but he did what he needed to do. He's tough, but he's also fair. I'm looking for a whole bunch of people, bro. A whole bunch of people. But I'm gonna show y'all what's going on over here. Yep. Oh, this was sent there.
And I want Carol to lead us in prayer. Can we form a circle?
Yes.
Can we form a circle?
Y'all come on.
So we can have
Y'all want to go to the stairs? Okay. We're going to go. Justice for Karmelo. Oh, no, you're fine.
Justice for Karmelo. What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want it?
Yeah.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. Justice for Karmelo.
Just a little bit of light at the
This awesome attorney right here. Not guilty, boys.
Hey, y'all, let me take a picture of
Karmelo! Oh, excuse me. Karmelo! Justice! Now! Glory!
I need everybody to get everybody, we're gonna say what's his name? What do we want? A conviction, okay? What do we want?
Conviction. No conviction. Hold on. Overturn. All right, Hold on.
We need everybody on the same
I'm gonna go down there to show y'all. Yeah, and happy birthday to Nolan. Happy birthday to Nolan. We're gonna keep Karmelo in our prayers. We're gonna keep Nolan in our prayers. We're gonna keep Daniel Irving in our prayers. We're gonna keep all of our young men and women who are no longer with us or incarcerated. We're gonna keep them in our prayers, y'all. We're gonna keep them in our prayers, and justice is to be served. All right. If you are at home and you asking what can you do, even if you can't do nothing, you feel like you can't do nothing, sharing this live, not just my live, share it, go on each and every one of our pages and share these lives. Get the word out. That's how y'all can help. Me personally, I help in my capacity as being an educator and a paralegal. Those are my strong suits. That's what I can offer for the community. If you want to know something that you can do, and all you can do is share lives, spread the word, that's all we can do. We're not resting until we get justice. We're not resting until we get justice. We are not resting without getting justice. What video? Perspective, what video, love? So how the overflow, so I was in the overflow room, and there was, if that's what you're speaking on, we had to watch, they zoomed the trial, well, not the trial, the hearing on TV. Now, first we had a little bit of some because stuff wasn't working. And they had to get that fixed. But they played Judge Roach's interview that he did with WFAA. And the argument for the defense was, you know, he made public comments outside of his normal courtroom procedures that actually violated the canons, Canon 3B10 and 2A, if I'm not mistaken. Now, as far as Judge Harle, what he says, I have it in my notes, but I don't want to steer y'all wrong, but it was along the lines of he didn't have any findings on the canons. But the main issue is, do you think that Judge Roach, on the outside, would you think that Judge Roach would be fair on ruling on that motion for a new trial? He said no. And with that being said, he said, I will grant that motion. Yes, they played his interview. Yes. And y'all, I don't think I have it on my page, but I'm gonna share the actual interview with you guys. But all you gotta do is type in Judge Roach interview and it'll populate, y'all. It'll populate. But just know that Judge Harle, he said he did not find any findings on because it's a high bar. Even Russell said it. It's very type in Judge Roach interview and it'll populate, y'all. It'll populate. But just know that Judge Harle, he said he did not find any findings on because it's a high bar. Even Russell said it. It's very hard to connect the judge's actions to a canon. That is a very, very high bar, right? Oh, there's one of the news reporters and Smash out there. And so he did not find any findings on the canons. However, he said on the outside looking in, will people, the public, you all believe that he could be impartial for the remainder of this case? And he said, with that being said, I'm going to grant his recusal. So now we are going to get a new judge, and that new judge is going to rule on that motion for new trial. It starts tomorrow, and I will be here. I'm more than likely going to be in the overflow room. Okay? But y'all, I'm so happy. All right, I'm going to take y'all. I'm so happy. So Judge is gone. The Roach is gone. The Roach is gone. The Roach is gone. The raid we sprayed, he is gone. He is gone. He is gone. He is gone. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Now I'm over here by Buc-ee's. I might go get me a barbecue sandwich for my child in school. For real. I know y'all do that. I know y'all do that. Don't y'all be eating when y'all kids in school? Baby, I be treating myself. Why are we protecting criminals? Oh, I ain't got no mods in here. That's all right. That's all right, boo-boo. That's all right. Go ahead. Go ahead and get you out. Yes. Hey, if I have any mods, I can't really see, but y'all go ahead and get them out of here. If I have any mods, because I can't catch everything. Yes. Y'all share this live, get it out. Roach has been recused. Oh, Lord. Woo! Oh, yeah. Wait. Where is it?
Everybody is mad. So we got to
Oh, man.
Freedom and justice is a constant.
It was deep. Excuse me. Yes. I love this. Free Karmelo. Who said let's get back to racist and abuse more so what you're saying just be open and proud racist. Well, you know what? Now you about to get blocked from my channel because Bookie Bud, we don't do that. How about you be be timed out for 24 hours. I'll see you tomorrow. Yes. Hold up, because there's some people that I be chatting with on TikTok and I can't find them. I just seen them and I don't know where they went. Oh, Lord. But Lord Jesus. Now, some people don't be acting civilized, y'all. Holly County, y'all. We did it, y'all. We did it. Let me see what we got. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah, I was like, now we can't be Oh, thank y'all. So whoever my mod is, thank you for doing.
Hearing black people. No one is talking right now but black people. Look, it should be positive across the board. Whether if he get a new trial or not, he still have other options. I would never talk negative on nothing. Your tongue is the powerful most thing on your body. The most powerful thing is your tongue. You do not speak on other people in existence. Oh Lord, y'all can't even talk today. You don't speak on people in existence or what's going to happen good or negative for that person. You speak on your own family, speak on your own tribe. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just listening to the internet. It's insane how people think it's okay. I don't want, nigga, you ain't in there. Some people know that they messed over that boy. They know people ain't finna let that go. They know big people are behind him. They know the machine is behind him. This ain't like no regular shit. Even in the Nolan case, I listened to Trent. Trent say he spoke to attorneys. He's not going to speak about XYZ. I think they found some shit in that phone. They know they found shit in that phone or whatever. And I believe the case is finna turn upside down. I believe that there will be arrests. And it's because of the machine not letting down, not taking their foot off their neck. Do y'all understand if you stop buying from these people, they'll straighten up? You can't be rich if nobody's buying your product. Like, we don't even get that. Like, Jesus. Okay, let's see what they got to say. Update on Nolan Wells. Not Nolan. I'm sorry, Karmelo.
Way to the city of Carrollton, and it was a topic brought up at the city council meeting last night. So I was able to do a little bit of digging this morning, and I found out that over the last 3 years, the city of Carrollton has signed a story this morning. I was able to go to Carrollton PD's website, and they have a drop-down menu that specifically talks about their transparency when it comes to flock cameras. They also have a link on their website that goes to the flock transparency portal. And here is where you can see just how many cameras are in the city of Carrollton, how long they keep that data, and just how many alerts were made as a result of these flock cameras. So I am staying on top of this story this morning. I am going to reach out to some local leaders in the area to try and see what their response is to some of these concerns.
Live this morning at the Collin County Courthouse in McKinney. And Trevor, this week's hearings are all a part of Anthony's appeal process.
Yeah, Carmen. Karmelo Anthony and his legal team have hearings both today and tomorrow at the Collin County Courthouse right behind me. Now, today, his legal team is expected to argue that Anthony deserves a new trial for his appeal and a new judge for his appeal. Tomorrow, they're expected to argue Anthony deserves a new trial because of a controversial agreement between the defense and prosecution not to allow the jury to hear evidence about Anthony or Metcalf's backgrounds. A South Texas judge will oversee today's recusal hearing. After that, either the original Judge John Roach or a new judge will hear arguments arguments on Thursday for a new trial. Now, today's hearing begins at 9 a.m. We will have a reporter inside and outside the courthouse, and we'll bring you the very latest both today and tomorrow. Live in McKinney, Trevor Sahaki, CBS News, Texas.
Okay, Trevor, thank you for staying on top of the trial for us.
You know what? They're not saying too much about this CBS Texas, right? They're not trending. Sorry, what's going on with the Karmelo Anthony thing? This yesterday. Hold on, let me see if this is.
Well, in just a few hours, Karmelo Anthony will be back in court this morning. This comes 2 months now after a jury found him guilty of murdering Austin Metcalf at a Frisco track meet last year. Trevor Sohaki followed the original trial and joins us live this morning from McKinney. Trevor, what are this week's hearings going to be about?
Well, Carmen, Karmelo Anthony and his legal Anthony will be back in court this morning with a new set of lawyers as well. They're expected today to argue Anthony deserves a new judge for his.
And that breaking news in Karmelo Anthony's appeal hearing, a judge granted his lawyer's request to replace his trial judge. Now, a new judge will proceed over Anthony's appeals. Thank you for being with us this midday. I'm Kara Sewell. WFAA has followed this case since the very beginning. And our Jobin Pennicker was inside the Collin County Courthouse when a judge granted that recusal. So, Jobin, what does today's decision mean for a new trial?
Well, it means Judge Roach will not be sitting on the bench when we have tomorrow's hearing. Now, after that news was mentioned, there were people clapping, there were people cheering outside of the courthouse, outside of the courtroom as well. Today's hearing lasted only about an hour and 20 minutes. We did not expect it to take the full day. Judge Sid Harle ruled to recuse Judge Roach, not based on any judicial canons or violations of conduct or misconduct, but rather whether an outside person could think the judge could be fair and impartial. And just to understand what all that means, I've got Todd Shapiro here, longtime defense attorney. Can you tell?
Hold up, y'all. That's a bunch of bullshit. They know why they doing it. They know that this man, they trying to save face for him. But I pray to God these people sue the judge. They sue everybody. I pray to God. I pray to God.
Tell us what the distinction is.
Sure. So the judge granted the motion to recuse, but he narrowly tailored his decision, for the record, saying exactly what you just said. It wasn't because of anything necessarily that Judge Roach did that was impermissible in the trial. It was more an idea that giving the interview after the fact made an outsider or a reasonable third party look at the process and think it could have been not as fair and impartial as the law requires. So I would say, out of abundance of caution, the judge did recuse Judge Roach, which is a victory for the Karmelo supporters. There's no doubt that they're happy, because technically that's probably the first victory they've had in this case since it started. But it doesn't really change the landscape of what's next, because what's next is whoever gets appointed to now step into the shoes of Judge Roach will have to listen to evidence and testimony in the next couple days in the motion for new trial to be able to determine whether or not they've met the standard of proving that they, in fact, did not get a fair trial the first time around, and it should be entitled to a new trial.
Karmelo Anthony was in court today. He was in a green jumpsuit.
Which is not unusual. That's when anytime anybody's in custody, that's what they wear, unless they're in front of a jury.
And he was handcuffed.
He was.
And
that's normal.
The defense attorney raised something.
Asked for him to be unshackled for the hearing, and the judge allowed it.
What's next? Administrative judge gets to appoint the next judge.
From what I've been told, yes. The hearing's set for tomorrow morning, the motion for new trial. I would believe that the new judge that's going to get appointed probably already knew that that was a possibility to be ready. And so I would assume tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. when the hearing starts, it'll be whoever that judge may be, and the hearing and the motion for new trial will proceed from there.
Todd, thank
you. You see how they said they assumed that this would be the verdict? I think that's what he said. And now they have a judge in place. That's crazy.
Thank you so much.
Got it.
You'll join us later for our streaming show, 30-minute streaming show after that. So again, we're going to have our hearing, another hearing. This is the motion for a new trial that starts at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Okay, we appreciate the insight and the update. Thank you, Jobin. So stay tuned to WFAL.
Where the judge at the center of that high school track meet stabbing trial has been removed as the convicted teen is appealing his conviction. You might remember the case is when then 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was involved in a confrontation with 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in the rival team's tent. That altercation turning deadly, with Anthony stabbing Metcalf. He claimed it was self-defense, but he was convicted of murder and sentenced to more than 30 years in prison. Anthony is Black, Metcalf was white, and this case has sparked massive backlash, dividing the community, especially along the lines of race. And almost immediately after that June decision, his family said they plan to fight the verdict.
You say I'm upset? Hell yeah, I'm upset. I respected this process, but we're going to fight like hell to make sure that Collin County know that Karmelo Anthony is not going to go away.
Well, correspondent Xavier Walton is live in McKinney, Texas. So Xavier, Anthony's defense team argues the judge was not acting impartial after he spoke publicly about the case.
Bullshit.
Nicole, that's exactly right. And that post-conviction fight for Karmelo Anthony's team really started today. And I'll tell you what, court started a little after 9. There were some delays, but it only took 1 hour. That's it for Karmelo Anthony's new defense team to convince this judge, that Judge John Roach, who presided over Anthony's trial back in June, that he should be recused. That's it. It took 1 hour. So just about an hour ago, there was a loud outroar outside of the courthouse. We went down there to see what happened. Inside the courtroom, I am told it was tense. I'm told it was emotional. A clip from an interview that Judge Roach, that you were just talking about, Nicole, did 2 days after Anthony was found guilty of first-degree murder, was played for the court to hear. Now, in that clip, Judge Roach agreed that the jury, quote, got it right. The Anthony defense team, his new defense team, says Judge Roach compromised his impartiality during that very interview. Here's what it sounded like for supporters of Karmelo Anthony after today's decision. Now, Roach has defended those restrictions that he initially put in place when it comes to media, cameras, and audio, in a written statement saying the overwhelming focus on my ruling regarding the media in the courtroom was to protect the process, witnesses, and jury. And that's one of the things at the forefront for the defense, saying that Roach would not allow these things. A visiting judge from South Texas named Sid Harle, that name may sound familiar. That's because he's the judge who presided over the Uvalde School Resource Officer trial earlier this year. He's going to be back here tomorrow to handle Anthony's post-trial proceedings. But Nicole, I'll tell you what, before today, leading up to these two hearings, I reached out to legal experts, and they said that the Karmelo Anthony defense team had an uphill battle. And I think a lot of people, if you ask them, they will tell you that they were a little bit shocked by this decision, not only by the decision, but how quickly it was made, too, just 1 hour from the time that hearing started to when that decision was.
We was also shocked to hear a verdict that fast. We was also shocked at the blurry footage that y'all sent out. We were all shocked for all the lies that were stated during this trial. We were all shocked that y'all thought that a little Black boy that wore at least 160 pounds against some boys that were almost 200 and something pounds a piece, that he wasn't supposed to protect himself. We were all shocked. Why they were shocked? Because it's the good old boys. Get out of here.
Was made by the judge today.
All right, so Xavier, some say this is an uphill battle, the defense now getting past that first hurdle, but now it's turning to its push for a new trial. What?
Let's go, Willie D.
Car lot. It's a packed car lot. Ain't nobody in the front, but it's a packed car lot. So everybody up in there trying to see what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where all the lies and stuff been taking place at, huh? All of the corruption.
Yeah, I'm about to walk up in here and see put my thing down, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you having me on.
But you'll come back right after and give us an update, right?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Doc. All right.
My man, Andrew Wilkinson. Whoo, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to bring another good friend of the show on, Jack Palmieri. He's going to explain why this is not yet the hearing that decides whether Karmelo Anthony gets a new trial. Right now, he's just trying to get a new lawyer so that he can have a fair trial should his appeal be granted. There he is right now. The good man, Jack, is back.
Good morning, my friend. Thank you for having me, as always.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. So here we are, man. You know, what's crazy is that I think that was a fear for a while from a lot of people that because the Nolan Wells case was getting so much attention that people had forgotten about Karmelo. I think today, hold on, we're getting a little echo. I think today kind of dispels that. People are really tuned in. They're locked in to see what type of decision comes out today. What's your gut on that?
I agree 100%. You know, a lot of people wrote Karmelo off once the verdict came down. It's unusual for a lot of us to follow cases post-verdict. People always follow the appeal process, which is just as, if not more important. And so that was already yesterday's news as part of the 21st century society where everyone just needs fresh information. But this should be right back in the spotlight because, you know, this goes to the heart of what I and your last guest do. This is now in the courtroom. This is the trial process. Whereas with Nolan, we're dealing with trying to get it that far, trying to get the parties to be heard in the court of law, where this is, you know, been through the first trial, and now we may very realistically be staring down a second trial. And it's a really crucial issue what happens today because depending on how this hearing goes, if there is a finding that this judge was impartial or had a bias or did not just call balls and strikes during the trial, that will only go to strengthen the later argument for a retrial, right? If you determine this judge was biased or in any way did not do his job, then that's all the more reason that Karmelo is entitled to a retrial.
Right. Why would a sitting judge publicly discuss a case when post-trial motions were still possible? Why, oh, why, oh, why?
You know, 95% of attorneys make the rest of us look bad. You are right. Why did he do it? He got ahead of himself is the only plausible explanation. There's no good reason for him to have done this. The notice of appeal was filed immediately after the verdict came down. So there was no question of whether or not everything would be reviewed. The last thing this judge should have done was put his spurs on, get in front of the camera, and look for his 15 minutes of fame, which is what he did.
Exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. And it just goes to show you, man, even people in the highest places, even when they got their names in the headlines, they still want that attention, man. If everything he said was legally permissible, the question is, was it smart? And I think we both agree that that was one of the dumbest things that he could have done. But again, I think that goes towards the arrogance. It speaks to the arrogance of some of these people that are in these high positions. And we talking about judges. Look, all of us, we take our implicit biases wherever we go. That's any, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a judge. It doesn't matter if you are a prosecutor. It doesn't matter if you are a doctor. We all have implicit biases, but can you decide to separate that from your duty? You know, like, look, look, let's say I'm a judge and I get a Klan member coming to my courtroom. As a judge, I'm supposed to be able to separate my implicit bias about Klan members and what the law says. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I just gave you a bad example because I'm sending his ass to jail. He going to jail. He going to jail, Jack. I'm sending that sucker to jail. So I can't do that. But there are people who are supposed to be skilled enough to do that. You're supposed to be able to do that. It's like just in keeping on pace, with the statement I just made, and I'll give you a similar analogy. You got a doctor who's about to operate on a patient, and the patient say, "Oh, don't touch me. I don't like your skin color. Don't touch me." Well, that doctor still has an obligation to save that patient's life, even though this patient really ain't worthy of breathing the same oxygen that the doctor is. But the doctor signed up for that. And he had to know that sometimes these type of people are going to end up on his, operating table, So, does commenting publicly create, an appearance of partiality, even if actual bias can't be proven?
If nothing else, it shows an appearance of self-interest. Like you said, not only should he be separating himself from his ego, it's his job. It's his ethical obligation. You said it perfectly. He signed up for this. Okay. You want to be in the spotlight? Go do defense work like me. Okay. You want to be on TV? You want to give interviews? Come off the bench, go into private practice. Okay. You don't, as a judge, just at the same reason you don't see prosecutors going on TV and giving their opinion. All they say is, we respect the criminal justice system. We respect the jury's verdict. That's all we have to say. That's all they can say, right? He should not be inserting himself into the conversation because, of course, it only invites this, why are you saying anything in the first place? This case should not resonate for you outside the hours you are on the bench. You shouldn't be bringing this case home. You shouldn't have personal opinions about it. All your job is to do is call balls and strikes. All you're supposed to do is making sure the lawyers are behaving and that everyone follows the law. That's it. So he's brought this on himself. It was so short-sighted. He deserves the attention, the criticism he's getting. He should have said nothing because that's not your place.
And the defense, they don't necessarily have to prove that Judge Roach hates Karmelo Anthony. They just have to prove that, whether his conduct created legitimate questions about his ability to impartially reconsider disputed decisions.
Yes. So in a criminal case, the defendant, the accused's rights are paramount to everyone else's. In a criminal case where someone's being accused of a crime, they're still innocent, the rights of the accused trump the rights of the victim, trump the rights of the state, trump the rights of the judge. You put the defendant first by law. That is de facto how it goes, okay? If it's 50-50, you're supposed to side for the accused. So the fact that you are creating these impressions of impropriety, these questions that are legitimate, there shouldn't be any questions. The fact that you created a question that in and of itself is legitimate and concerning has caused the conflict. So you have to rule for the defendant. You have to. That's how it's drafted. We always weigh when there are issues of conflict, issues of evidence, it's prejudice versus probative value. Okay? The prejudice is so daunting here against Karmelo. Okay, how can any defense attorney, have anyone going assured? They need to be assured that the judge is neutral. If you don't have that assurance, you should do the right thing and recuse yourself, because the concern has been raised by the defendant and by his counsel. The fact that you are being so arrogant as a judge to say, no, I'm not leaving. If this ruling goes sideways on him, this will get worse for him, because now you are forcing another judge to make a legal and factual determination that, in fact, you mucked up, right? That's going to be on the record now. Now you're looking at possible complaints, formal bar complaints, certain a condemnation of what he's done. There could be repercussions beyond you're being removed. Okay,
Yeah.
It would have been wise and resolved this quietly without a finding of fact, without a finding of law, and said, you know what? Because I adore this system that I am a part of, that I have the privilege to be a part of, I will step away and not make it about me, which is what he's done.
Yeah, he couldn't help himself because, again, it's that entitlement, it's that arrogance, it's that good old boy system in Collin County where this guy's actually been accused of all kinds of improper behavior. So he's been accused of all types of improper behavior. So this ain't nothing new for him. He kind of used to navigating drama and corruption. You dig what I'm saying? Jack, sit tight for a minute. I'll come right back to you. Okay?
Absolutely.
Family, let me tell you something. Here's the cold part right here. Before the trial, the defense and prosecutors reportedly had an off-the-record agreement restricting certain potentially prejudicial evidence. So they had essentially a gentleman's agreement. And the defense is saying that the prosecution broke that agreement and kind of just basically railroaded Karmelo. They didn't live up to it. They played both sides of the fence. Now, I'll come back and I'll let Jack address that. But before I go any further, I want to let y'all know that today, at 10 o'clock a.m., pre-sale tickets go on sale for the Roast of Willie D, cooked by legends. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all do not hear me. You do not hear me. In fact, let me go to the site right now and give y'all a sneak peek of what it looks like. Should have had this up for y'all already, but it's cool, Y'all's my people. I know y'all got a little patience for me. Let's see, where is it? Let's go to the website here and go on down to, here we go. There's your guy. Let's see, I'm gonna share this with y'all. So if you are in Houston, if you're in the Houston area, especially if you're in Houston, you live in Houston, if you don't make this, you gotta leave the city. If you don't make this event, if you've been to all of these other events and you miss this event, you got to leave the city because this is one of the biggest events that's ever been held in the city. So it's the Roast of Willie D cooked by legends. Y'all see that? You dig? Hold on. You don't see it. Now you see it. Now.
Where the judge at the center of that high school track meet stabbing trial has been removed as the convicted teen is appealing his conviction. You might remember the case is when then 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony was involved in a confrontation with 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in the rival team's tent. That altercation turning deadly with Anthony stabbing Metcalf. He claimed it was self-defense, but he was convicted of murder and sentenced to more than 30 years in prison. Anthony is Black, Metcalf was white, and this case has sparked massive backlash, dividing the community, especially along the lines of race. And almost immediately after that June decision, his family said they plan to fight the verdict.
You say I'm upset? Hell yeah, I'm upset. I respected this process, but we're going to fight like hell to make sure that Collin County know that Karmelo Anthony is not going to go away.
Well, correspondent Xavier Walton is live in McKinney, Texas. So Xavier, Anthony's defense team argues the judge was not acting impartial after he spoke publicly about the case.
Nicole, that's exactly right. And that post-conviction fight for Karmelo Anthony's team really started today. And I'll tell you what, court started a little after 9. There were some delays, but it only took 1 hour. That's it for Karmelo Anthony's new defense team to convince this judge, that Judge John Roach, who presided over Anthony's trial back in June, that he should be recused. That's it. It took 1 hour. So just about an hour ago, there was a loud outroar outside of the courthouse. We went down there to see what happened. Inside the courtroom, I am told it was tense. I'm told it was emotional. A clip from an interview that Judge Roach, that you were just talking about, Nicole, did 2 days after Anthony was found guilty of first-degree murder, was played for the court to hear. Now, in that clip, Judge Roach agreed that the jury, quote, got it right. The Anthony defense team, his new defense team, says Judge Roach compromised his impartiality during that very interview. Here's what it sounded like for supporters of Karmelo Anthony after today's decision. Now, Roach has defended those restrictions that he initially put in place when it comes to media, cameras, and audio, in a written statement saying the overwhelming focus on my ruling regarding the media in the courtroom was to protect the process, witnesses, and jury. And that's one of the things at the forefront for the defense, saying that Roach would not allow these things. A visiting judge from South Texas named Sid Harle, that name may sound familiar. That's because he's the judge who presided over the Uvalde School Resource Officer trial earlier this year. He's going to be back here tomorrow to handle Anthony's post-trial proceedings. But Nicole, I'll tell you what, before today, leading up to these two hearings, I reached out to legal experts, and they said that the Karmelo Anthony defense team had an uphill battle. And I think a lot of people, if you ask them, they will tell you that they were a little bit shocked by this decision, not only by the decision, but how quickly it was made too, just 1 hour from the time that hearing started to when that decision was made by the judge today.
All right, so Xavier, some say this is an uphill battle, the defense now getting past that first hurdle, but now it's turning to its push for a new trial. What are they arguing went wrong during that trial?
So there are three big arguments, and we're going to start with this, the restrictions on public access, essentially closing down the courtroom. Now, if you'll recall, back in June, there were no cameras allowed. There was no audio allowed. So it really was people inside, and there was only like 9 or 10 media seats too. And then there was like 28 public viewing areas. So it was a limited amount of people inside of that courtroom. So that's one of the main arguments. The second one is they say the prosecutors backed away from a so-called gentleman's agreement to keep certain character evidence out of the initial trial. That's another argument made by the defense. And the third is they're challenging the jury's instructions involving the self-defense claim. Now, the prosecution, Bill Werski, he did put out a statement saying the jury, heard extensive evidence over the course of the trial. This is back in June, obviously, returned a unanimous verdict. We remain confident in that verdict and the fairness of the proceedings. So obviously, both sides are sticking to their guns here. But the hearing on Anthony's request for a new trial is set for tomorrow at 9 a.m. As we're looking at these live pictures, there's still some people out here. But I'll tell you what, as soon as that decision came down, Nicole, you heard a loud roar from outside of the courtroom. And that's when we went down there. First hurdle for the Anthony team today. Second hurdle tomorrow, potentially a new trial. We'll have to wait and see. I should also mention there were families from both sides, both the Metcalf family and the Anthony family, inside of that courtroom 2 months following that guilty verdict. Nonetheless, very emotional. One hurdle today, another hurdle certainly going to be emotional again tomorrow.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.
Y'all, this is crazy.
And that breaking news in Karmelo Anthony's appeal hearing, a judge granted his lawyer's request to replace his trial judge now. A new judge will proceed over Anthony's appeals. Thank you for being with us this midday. I'm Kara Sewell. WFAA has followed this case since the very beginning. And our Jobin Pennicker was inside the Collin County Courthouse when a judge granted that recusal. So, Jobin, what does
Looking for a K-12 education that goes beyond the textbook, right from the comfort of home? Welcome to a new standard of online learning.
Beyond general education, our students dive into specialized virtual labs for real-world job readiness. Genealogy lab, historical lab, civil law, and our media and public speaking lab.
We prepare global citizens with immersive Spanish and French language tracks. And because we're proudly Florida-based and Step Up certified, families can access the elite education through state scholarship programs.
Diverse representation, academic excellence, and career readiness, delivered entirely online, wherever you are. Secure your child's spot today. Secure your child's spot today. Visit our website to enroll.